This video covers double running stitch, which is also known as Holbein stitch. It's very traditionally used in blackwork techniques, especially the earlier ones in the 1500s where they're very geometric. At the top here, I've done a line of double running stitch, and just below it is a line of back stitch. And on the surface, they look identical. The stitches match end to end, and there's no gaps. So it's not open like a running stitch, it's not overlapped like a stem stitch. And depending on your design, either one might be suitable. Here I have just a simple geometric design done in double running stitch. Now, when double running stitch is used in a design like this for blackwork, it's often on a linen or something where you can count threads, so it's very even and geometric. This example is not as perfectly geometric as if I had used an even weave fabric, so bear with me on that point. But you see the point of the fact that this is just a solid line outlining a very simple geometric design. The real difference is what happens on the back side. So here's the back of the work, and as you can see, the purple thread is still a solid line, as is this geometric design down here. This means that it would be reversible. If you were using this on a collar or a cuff where you might see the back side of the work, you would want to use this double running stitch. Whereas this one, which was the back stitch, you can see all that extra bulky thread behind there. It's a little bit messy looking, it wouldn't be such a clean design, and it also just adds bulk to your design. It takes up a little bit more thread, and it adds some padding to the back of the work. It's one of the beautiful things about back stitch, especially as a filling stitch. I find that that extra thread on the back makes it beautifully padded and gives a real richness to your design, but that may not be appropriate for every design. So this double running stitch is a great way to get a similar look with a lot less bulk in your stitches. To demonstrate double running stitch, I've done a simple geometric design here. As you can see, I've done this in running stitch where there's a stitch and a gap and a stitch and a gap, and I've just been following the shape. So I'll go ahead and continue to the end. So running stitch obviously leaves those gaps in between each stitch. As I get to the end, I'm going to take this final stitch, go down, and come back up at the beginning of where that stitch was. So that's right here. And I'm going to go down and meet the stitch before that, filling in the gap. This is also when I take this stitch underneath, filling in the gap on the back side. So you just turn around and go back along the exact same line of work, filling in all the stitches that you didn't take before. So every space will be filled both on the front and the back. This can be a really fun technique if you're doing two different colors of thread. There's no reason why you have to go with just one. It would make a very fun dashed line with two colors. This is a very traditional technique, as I said before, with black work. So this green and blue wouldn't normally be the colors that are used, but it's a really fun way to do this. If you were doing something like a border on a tea towel, or anywhere else where you might see the back side of the work and you want it to be very neat and tidy, this double running stitch can be a great technique to use so that the front and back of your work look exactly the same.